The music was already fading when the impossible happened, and for one suspended heartbeat the entire room seemed to forget how to breathe. In a sunlit school gym filled with polished floors and bright banners, a tired janitor stepped forward and offered his hand to a girl everyone else had learned to look past. What no one knew was that a pair of sharp, powerful eyes were watching from the shadows, measuring every movement, every intention, and every ounce of kindness. If stories of compassion, second chances, and quiet courage matter to you, please take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Single Dad Diaries. Your support helps keep stories like this alive for people who still believe kindness can change lives. Isaac Cole had learned to live quietly. Daytime was his shift, when the halls were noisy and forgiving, when people were too busy to notice the man pushing a cleaning cart with a careful limp and a faded uniform. He was a single father to a sleepy 8-year-old boy who believed his dad worked in a castle because the school felt that big to him. Isaac never corrected him. After his wife passed away 3 years earlier, dreams had become something he folded away like old letters, kept safe but unopened. He showed up early, worked hard, and stayed invisible, because invisible men rarely disappointed anyone. That afternoon, sunlight poured through tall windows into the gym where a school fundraiser was being held. Colorful streamers fluttered gently as music played, echoing against the walls. Students, parents, and donors moved about laughing, spinning, and dancing in clusters. Isaac had been asked to stay close, just in case, his mop resting against the wall while he watched the floor for spills. That was when he noticed Maria. She sat near the edge of the gym in a lightweight wheelchair, her hands folded neatly in her lap, her posture straight as if she had practiced stillness her entire life. Her left leg was braced, her movements careful, but her eyes followed the dancers with a quiet hunger that felt almost painful to witness. She was dressed in a pale yellow dress that caught the light, and every now and then she smiled, not because she was happy, but because she refused to let anyone see what she was missing. Isaac felt something stir in his chest, something old and familiar. He remembered the way his wife used to sway in their kitchen in the middle of the day, music playing softly while sunlight touched the counters. He remembered how she said dancing was just another way of telling the world you were still here. Without thinking, without permission from fear or logic, he set his mop aside and took a step forward. The crowd barely noticed him at first. A janitor out of place was easy to ignore. Isaac moved slowly, respectfully, stopping a few feet from Maria, making sure not to startle her. He bent slightly, lowering himself to her level, and extended his hand with a warmth that needed no words. Maria looked up, surprise flashing across her face, then uncertainty, then something like hope. She hesitated, glancing around, perhaps expecting someone to stop this moment before it began. No one did. With careful effort, Maria placed her hand in his. The music swelled again, brighter now, and Isaac guided her gently onto the floor, adjusting his pace to hers, letting the dance become whatever her body allowed it to be. They did not spin wildly or leap. They swayed. They smiled. They created a small, tender universe where limitations had no power. Around them, conversations slowed. Phones lowered. People began to notice. What Isaac did not see was Valentina Kessler standing near the back of the gym, her posture elegant, her presence commanding even in stillness. She was known in business circles for her precision and control, a billionaire whose calendar was booked years in advance. She had arrived quietly, wanting to observe the school her foundation supported without ceremony. When her eyes fell on her daughter dancing with a janitor, her first instinct was alarm. Then confusion. Then something far more dangerous to a woman like her. Emotion. Valentina watched the way Isaac kept his movements measured, the way he checked Maria's balance before every step, the way he smiled not at the crowd but at her daughter, as if nothing else in the room mattered. She saw Maria laugh, a sound that had grown rare since the accident that changed everything. For the first time in months, Valentina felt the tightness in her chest loosen, replaced by a warmth she had forgotten how to name. The music ended, but the moment lingered. Applause broke out, hesitant at first, then swelling into something genuine. Isaac helped Maria back into her chair, nodding politely, already preparing to disappear again. That was when Valentina stepped forward, her heels clicking softly against the floor, her expression unreadable. Isaac froze, expecting reprimand or embarrassment. He straightened his uniform, ready to apologize for overstepping. Instead, Valentina stopped in front of him and looked him in the eyes. She saw the exhaustion there, the humility, the quiet pride. She asked about his name, his family, his work, not as a benefactor but as a mother whose heart had just been reminded how fragile joy could be. Isaac answered honestly, without realizing the magnitude of the moment unfolding. By the end of the day, nothing dramatic had been announced. There were no speeches or cameras. But the following weeks brought changes that felt like small miracles. Isaac was offered a role helping coordinate school programs focused on inclusion, a position that paid better hours and allowed him to be home with his son every evening. Mireia began attending dance therapy sessions funded quietly, thoughtfully, by a foundation that suddenly understood its purpose more clearly. Months later, the gym looked the same, bright and welcoming, but something invisible had shifted. People greeted Isaac by name. Mireia moved with more confidence, her laughter more frequent. Valentina attended events not as a distant sponsor but as a present mother, standing close enough to catch every smile. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment near the end of this video to like, share, and subscribe to Single Dad Diaries. Your engagement helps these stories reach people who need them most. Before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below and tell us what this moment of kindness meant to you or who it reminded you of. Sometimes, the most powerful acts happen in daylight, in ordinary places, performed by people who believe they have nothing left to offer. But kindness, when seen by the right eyes, has a way of changing everything.